Welcome to Emily's garden, come on out today. Welcome to Emily's garden, just a snap away. In this place, life is celebrated. It's the place where dreams are cultivated. Welcome to Emily's garden, just a snap away.
My name is Emily. Welcome to my garden. It's the place where dreams are cultivated. I have a great show planned for you today. So bring your pumpkins along, 'cause I know a place we can weigh them. I'm at the Great Pumpkin Weigh-Off in Warren, Rhode Island. Who would have thought that Warren, the smallest town in the smallest state, would be known for something so large? Since the year 2000, Farish Farm has hosted the Southern New England Giant Pumpkin Growers Annual Weigh-Off on Columbus Day weekend. You see, David and Barbara Farish operate a family-owned retail nursery and have offered quality annuals, perennials, and vegetables lovingly grown in 11 greenhouses on the property. But in the fall, Farish Farm is invaded by giant pumpkins at the Southern New England Giant Pumpkin Growers Annual Weigh-Off. What's going on today, Dave?
Okay, this is the 16th annual pumpkin weighing contest that we posted at the farm here. We are blessed with almost 40 entries today, and we have some real monsters here with a strong possibility of setting a world record. We shall know by the end of the day. We have a certified scale with a certified scale technician. This is an international weigh site. It's not just a regular weigh site. So we're in competition with the entire world.
The biggest pumpkin just got weighed in Italy.
Yes. We've been number 1 in the world, we've been number 2, number 4. We're always in the top 10. After this weigh-off, I think we're going to be right back up at near the top again, because it's based on your top 10 weights. Okay. You add them together and you divide by 10, and that's how you get your ranking. And there are some monsters here, including one from Steve Conley, the Wallaces. A lot of the big hitters are over here, and the pumpkins are absolutely humongous.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've owned the farm here for 43 years. And I developed a friendship with a man named John Castellucci. He was the pioneer guy with giant pumpkins. And I asked him, I was doing a mum festival, and I asked him, I said, I really want to drop a pumpkin from a crane. And he said, are you crazy? I've been taking care of this plant for 6 months and you want to smash it? I said, but John, we're going to put candy inside, and we're also going to start a seed growing contest for the following year. So he thought about it a few minutes, and he said, well, that really does sound like a great idea. And I said, well, why don't you come down and you can talk about giant pumpkins? So he came down, set up a table, and the next year he goes, I've kind of outgrown my place. I don't have enough room for parking. The town's yelling at me because I'm blocking the roads up. Would you guys be interested in hosting it? So here we are. I said, absolutely. Here we are 16 years later, and this event, originally we had 300 people the first one, and now we range anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000. And today, I'm not sure yet, I'll know by the end of the day, we may even have more than 5,000 people here. They do come and go all day long, but we also have all kinds of activities for the kids, and that's what people like. If they get tired of looking at pumpkins, they can take a dragon coach, a pumpkin coach. Farm for Farmer's Gold is in the western town. We have a pirate ship, paint pumpkins, make scarecrows. We have a beautiful gift shop. I have probably 10,000 pumpkins on display to buy, and it's just pumpkin heaven.
So it all begins with the pumpkin drop.
Right, 11:30, depending. I've dropped anywhere from a 350 pounder to a 1,200 pounder. It's always a donated pumpkin, and people call me and they ask me, when is the pumpkin drop?
What happens to the pumpkins after they leave here?
A lot of them go up to Providence for the Pumpkin Spooktacular.
Okay.
And some of them actually are already pre-sold to different places, like sometimes the casinos. And actually, The guy that is sculpting the pumpkin here today, his name is Richard Kaiser. He was actually asked to carve a pumpkin for Obama. But
Really?
I was going to drive him. We were so hepped up on it. He actually carves for fairs and festivals too. But he just like, oh, I don't have the time, and it's, you know. But anyway, he turned down. I was very disappointed because I wanted to take him. You know, of course, you're going to get to personally meet the Obamas.
Right.
In their, you know,
But
in their
then
garden.
again, you know, you're going to have a Clinton and a Trump carving contest too, and that could be pretty scary this
Yes,
year.
it could be. It could be.
You carved him today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is this something that you do all the time? Obviously, you're an artist.
Yep. And I used to carve for the Roger Williams Zoo also. But
Okay.
I'm not doing it this year. But I carved at the Woodstock Fair in Connecticut.
Nice.
One of the pumpkins was 1,200 pounds. Another one was 960 something. But yeah, by Thanksgiving, I don't want any
Part of
pumpkin
a
pie.
pumpkin.
I want blueberry pie, apple pie. No pumpkin pie.
You're done.
Yeah, I'm done.
What's this gentleman's name?
Oh, I didn't think of a name.
I think we can call him Handsome.
Yeah, I would think so.
Not too shabby. Now, do you have any of the tools, or could you give us any
Yeah,
tips on
sure,
this
do.
for
Yeah, this was,
the home pumpkin carver?
Generally, I just use the clay hoop tools,
Okay.
and I
I
reinforce
have
them,
one of these actually.
and
Okay.
like this type, and I use.
So that just kind of scrapes it.
Yep, and a wood chisel. Sometime I'll use, depending on the pumpkin. Some of the pumpkins have they're hard. They're like a green squash.
Yeah.
So I have to use the wood chisels. But this one I just used it for outlining, and then I use that for most of the modeling, and this for some of the small areas.
And let me see that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yep, I do clay.
And
Or I used
then-
to do clay, and these are all tools you can get.
Yeah, and this is my eye taker outer, which I shoot in there, and my
This
gouge.
is an eye taker outer. A gouge.
Yep.
Okay.
I use that for in there.
Now, is there anything special as far as prep work after it's done? Should you do like a lemon juice, or is there
Well,
some kind of a
you can do that.
preservative?
There's stuff called wilt proof.
Yes.
Seals it, helps so it doesn't lose the moisture. Because once
Yeah.
you start carving, it starts losing the moisture instantly.
Right.
If it's cool out, it lasts longer.
Okay.
I'm going to spray this with polyurethane. It'll last about a week and a half. What happens, you'll generally see like the deep areas will start to get like a black. They'll get a little black, and then
Yeah.
the mold starts building up, and then it's.
But the
compost
wilt
pile.
proof will help with that.
It
It's
slows
just
it
like
down.
on the glossy evergreens, it will
Yeah,
take
it's
care of
sealed.
winter burn.
Sometimes just, like I've taken some and I painted them in acrylics.
Okay.
And that slows it down quite a bit too, because but by cutting through, that speeds it up a little bit. That does speed it up. But I like to cut through the eyes sometimes, and that's why I did that one with that.
So even with this, what's the life expectancy after it's
Week and a
carved?
half.
A week and a half.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of
Yeah,
figured.
it'll be about a week and a half. It'll stay at the farm here.
How
If
did
we
you-
have cool nights, it'll last, no problem. But if it gets warm,
Just like the mums.
that's right, and that's history. Yeah.
How did you get started carving pumpkins?
I've been carving, I don't know how many years, but I started here because Barbara and Dave Farish are good friends of ours.
Uh-huh.
And I'm even trying to think of how it started. I think they just asked me one time if I would, because I used to do chainsaw carving.
I have a friend that does that. Do you
Uh-huh.
know Mike Higgins?
Yeah, well, sure.
And some of these are done with chainsaws because
yeah.
they're so
Yeah,
big,
when they're
like
so
the
big,
one that
yeah.
we just saw.
Right.
I've read that Disney or places like that, you said Rhode Island.
Right.
That's
See my
Roger
pumpkins.
Williams Park,
Roger
right?
Williams, yeah, the zoo, yeah.
How'd you get started doing that?
It was also through Barbara and Dave because they had
Okay.
a display set up, and there was the director there was Jill Austin.
Okay.
That asked me if I would be interested in carving a pumpkin, a few pumpkins, because they have what's called this. Besides the haunted trail,
Yeah.
they have what's called a spooky trail, and it's for the little kids. So I would carve the pumpkins for that before you even got into the trail. I'm not doing that now, though.
And that's going on pretty much right about now,
Yeah, it is.
same time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
what's your background as an artist?
I taught art for 35 years in
Oh,
Rehoboth.
just that.
Yeah.
Rehoboth, you say?
Yeah, Rehoboth, Mass. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I taught at the Aggie for a little while,
did you
just
really?
a sub teacher.
Wow.
Yep.
I've been retired for 10 years, so now I just do my artwork full time. I graduated from Swain School of Design in New Bedford
Nice.
in 1970,
Okay.
which Swain School and SMU combined and turned into UMass Dartmouth. So actually I'm an alumni of UMass Dartmouth now, but I went to Swain School. And so I painted my whole life, did artwork my whole life. Yeah.
You're hired.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So,
Anyway.
tell me what has been the largest pumpkin that you've taken out of here?
The largest one is the one that was last year, 2,320 and a half pounds. It was 6 feet across in all directions, and it was 5 feet high. And it was just a mound of pumpkin flesh, a huge mound. It wasn't like a gradual like inclination. It just you have to see it to believe it. I wish I had a picture to show you. I know we do have some in our archives, but when you saw that pumpkin, when they arrived, I knew. I said, Ronnie, this is Ronnie Wallace. This is going to be a record breaker. I can tell you that because I've been looking at pumpkins for 16 years, and I know a winner when I see one. Very close on that last one at the end down there, so we'll see. No, make it, it's not going to be my much.
So for folks that are watching this for years to come, because they will, before we started, we talked a little bit, and there's been a hurricane kind of floating around, Hurricane Matthew, but it did outskirt us. You said that
Very lucky.
the BBC was going to be here?
Actually,
that's how big this is.
I talked to the BBC 6 times, and you know we've had different ones through the years, and they were so hepped up. They're doing a special for TV about giant things, and they found out that Furrish Farm has some of the biggest pumpkins almost every single year, and they were like heartbroken when the hurricane came. They decided they didn't want to risk any flight because they were going to send their camera crew from England. In fact, we actually had found them a place to stay, and it was a definite until the hurricane came and actually blew our BBC connection away for this year. She said, you know, it could happen in the future, but they just didn't want to risk having people stuck over here and who knows what, you know. So it's unfortunate, but I'll be letting her know what the wait is.
We'll cover for the BBC. Emily's Garden is a lifestyle show, and this certainly is a lifestyle for you.
Oh, it is.
And your
It
wife,
is.
Barbara.
And my wife, Barbara, who has the most beautiful gift shop. If you've been up there, she's incredible. It changes with the season. She has incredible talent. Her dad worked his way up to vice president of Coke, and her mom was a model and a buyer for the outlet company, which is now closed, but it was a major chain.
That somehow doesn't surprise me.
And she's extremely talented. I'm very blessed to have a great wife. My wife, Barbara, is incredible. She's just so talented.
Quite a team, I see.
You know, we talk about everything. We sit together in a chair, side by side every night. But she's just incredible. And I'm like the production end of it, and she's like the organization. She has tremendous skill.
I've known her for quite some time, too. We actually met with Sylvan Nursery at Farmers Village years and years ago. I've seen her every year at the flower show. Wonderful lady. And I truly believe that paths cross for certain reasons, so today must be the day.
And it's a pleasure to meet you too. I actually look on our Facebook, and I see the stuff that you put in there every time. So I'm a follower and a believer too.
I'm going to ask you a few more questions just because we have the time.
Sure.
First, I want to know about the world's record. What happens if we set it? You said that it was actually going to go in the books. How does that happen?
We contact them, and they know.
And them is?
The Guinness Book of World Records. We have had them
The Guinness Book of World Records gets contacted.
On site. If we know that we're pretty positive we have a definite, record, they will come on site sometimes. But because we're an international weight site and because of everything being certified, there's no doubt even for a second about the weights.
Okay.
And that's the deciding factor. As I said, years ago, we didn't, we had a regular scale, but we didn't have a certification. And there was a question, and I had to get a letter certifying that I was an honest and upstanding man and wouldn't present any false weights. And I've lived my life like that, and I'm not going to start changing.
I'd have vouched for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
That little girl.
Wasn't that heartwarming?
Oh my God.
And every year her weight gets bigger and bigger. And she saved all her pennies and nickels and quarters in a bag. They have a program, it's called the Orange Angels.
Okay.
And it's kind of based in West Warwick, Rhode Island. And what they do, they buy stuffed books or coats or clothes for people that are in great need.
Yeah, it brought a tear to my eye. So Haley, you and your dad obviously have this project going.
Yeah, well, plant pumpkins.
And I saw with great anticipation, because it's a hurdle to get to the 1,000
Yes, ma'am,
pound
it is, yes.
mark.
It was for us. It took
Yeah.
us 8 years.
Did you do this?
Yeah.
I saw
We
you
did
do
it a
it.
lot. We prayed a lot. We knew she'd be close, but we didn't think it would be 1,000. But we're very happy.
Now, what was your secret, do you think?
I don't
A lot of
know.
love and affection?
Well, it's really a lot of hoping, and it's also a lot of praying. Cause yeah. I don't know.
Now, how did you get the pumpkin here?
We have a tractor
Yeah.
at home, so we lift it up with our tractor and put it onto a pallet, and we put the pallet into the back of the truck and drive it here.
And where do you live?
We live in Connecticut. It's about 2
Wow.
hours from here.
That's, really quite a hike with the 1,000 pound pumpkin on your back.
We got a lot of looks on the highway,
Yeah.
so
We got a ton of beeps, we got a ton of good job stuff, and we got a lot of fun stuff.
everybody loves the giant pumpkin.
I want to know personally, what are you going to do with that 1,000 pound pumpkin?
Well, we might sell it.
Okay.
Believe it or not, even though it's our first 1,000 pounder.
Where would you sell it?
People buy them to professional carvers carve them, and people also buy them to use as displays for their businesses.
Do you have the right to ask for some seed? Should you sell it?
Yeah, that's one of the
'Cause
stipulations.
I'd do
we want
that.
to get our seeds back. Yeah. So when they're all done with it, we'll go and collect the seeds out of it. So we
Okay.
can try to plant this one again next year and try to hopefully make a bigger one.
And one last question, because I know they're getting ready to weigh again soon, so we don't want to hold too many people up. Tell me about your organization, because I thought that was wonderful. What's that all about? Dad, you can help her.
Orange Angels is about where there's a ton of kids in this world that don't even have enough money to buy coats and warm things because it's October and it's getting really cold. So what they do is they buy coats and then they give it to the kids who don't have coats.
And that was all started by Mr. Wallace, Dick Wallace, who we think has the biggest pumpkin here today. It should be the last one weighed today. And his nickname is Pap. He's a great man, and he's the one that started the Orange Angels Foundation. So Haley saved up some of her money and change and gave it to Pap to help buy coats for the needy kids around Rhode Island area.
That's really wonderful. If anybody wanted to get in touch with Haley or yourself, or really the organization, how would they do so?
We could probably be contacted through teampumpkin.org, which is a group of Connecticut growers, and the fair that we have a GPC way off at is the Durham Fair in Connecticut. And then there's also the Southern New England Giant Pumpkin Growers, and that's this event here, that's this GPC.
Okay.
Yeah, she has the Team Pumpkin hat, that's
Organization.
the OAF shirt. Yeah, I have my
Team
Durham
Pumpkin.
Fair shirt and the Sneg Pig.
Nice.
I mean, we really should be switched. But
So-
you insisted.
I'm going to ask you a silly question. What's your favorite kind of pie?
I don't really have a favorite because I'm
Say pumpkin.
okay. Pumpkin pie.
Of course, it's pumpkin pie.
All right, let's get back to the pumpkin way off.
Okay, sounds good.
So that's a family that actually raises them. If people wanted to enter this as a contest, what do they have to do?
Well, basically, actually, believe it or not, I get seeds from the giant pumpkin guys, and I plant them in my greenhouse, and we give them away in the middle of May.
Really? So
This
how
guy-
would they do that if they wanted to get some in the middle of May?
Well, you come down, and I usually do 100 to 150. They come down to the farm here in the middle of May, and we give them away, no charge, as a promotion to get people to raise pumpkins. And we've had some. One of the years we had one that got up to 650 pounds. Last year, the seeds came from a 1,300-pound pumpkin. So, I mean, you have pretty good genetics behind you. So, even if you're not like a professional grower, you could have some fairly good luck and end up with, 500-600-pound pumpkins.
Growing a giant pumpkin is truly an art form. Find seeds that have the genetics to grow huge fruit. With this, you have the potential to grow your first and hopefully record-breaking giant pumpkin. Giant pumpkins require 140 days or more from the time you plant a seed to the time you harvest the fruit. Start with a high nitrogen formula in the spring. Apply a high phosphorus fertilizer in advance of the blooming fruits. Finally, switch to a high potassium formula for fruit growth and plant health, and then start pouring on the water. The top growers, I'm told, have elaborate drip systems where they add liquid fertilizer, fish emulsions, and seaweed fertilizer. Liquid calcium significantly increases the ability of plants to take up these nutrients and use them to grow big fruit.
They do take a lot of time. These guys work all summer babying these things, talking to them, playing music, and whatever else it takes to get these things to grow at a good rate and to stay and not collapse.
And I take it you do try to grow a few here yourself, right?
We do grow. I grow right now about 8 acres of pumpkins.
Okay.
Yeah, but not
just a
these,
few.
Just a few.
Any tips for the giant pumpkins if anybody novice wanted to try their hand at it for the first year after getting your seed?
One of the big secrets is not as complicated as you would think. These pumpkins love a compost. They like, the Neptune's Harvest, the blend with the fish guts and the seaweed. And also there's a natural root hormone called rhizotonia.
Okay.
And they use that. It's all natural, and it makes the roots grow stronger. And of course, you have to have seeds from a good pumpkin. That's the key.
And one pumpkin on the vine?
And really, if you want to get a big pumpkin, one pumpkin. What they do, you go to 2 pumpkins, about basketball size, and then you make the cut. One is chopped and one stays, and you hope you pick the right one. Because if you grow 2 of them, what'll happen, instead of getting like a 1,000-pounder, you might get 2 600-pound or 2 500-pounders, but you're not going to get two whoppers.
And here's the real big question for this year. We were in incredible drought in New England.
Absolutely.
They require a lot of water, so
Right.
Talk about babysitting. Drip irrigation mostly?
Yeah, drip irrigation, and the key is these pumpkins can use quite a bit of water, but too much water is also bad. And a wet year, see, it's actually better to have a slightly dry year because you can add water, but you can't take it away. In a wet year, if you like the rain they're getting in Florida right now, if this was in the prime part of the growing season, your pumpkin could absolutely, rot and collapse because of getting too much water. So you have to strike a happy medium. So if you have a good well and you can measure out your water properly, the sky's the limit. And it doesn't take a lot of nitrogen either. A lot of people think, I'll give them, 20.
It's more for leaf growth. The calcium, I think, is the key.
The P and the K are what are really important.
Yeah.
Very low on the nitrogen. You don't need big numbers. You don't need 20. You can go with, like I say, a 5-10-10 or 5-14-14, something like that. But that's what goes. Tons of compost. Remember that?
Compost. Remember
and
that.
if you're a fisherman, you can dig some holes around and, bury some spots. A lot of guys also bury the vines.
I've heard that.
You don't bury the leaf. As the plant starts to grow, if you bury those vines...
Kind of like a tomato.
Right, they will root in, exactly.
Yep.
But keep the leaves out. But they will root in. The more that plant can pull into the mother, the bigger the pumpkin will get.
And you're definitely protecting it that way.
And you're also protecting it too, the vine, so it can't...
Yeah.
And also, as they grow, if it's going to be a big one, you have to make sure you have enough vine that can stretch in high enough excess. So other than that, you could actually rip the vine off your pumpkin if it grew really well.
And being in New England, you never know what the weather's going to be like, so you have to cover it if we get a frost.
Yeah, and a lot of guys sometimes put blankets on them at night. Some guys with putting seaweed in big pots and soaking their blankets in the seaweed and laying them on top of the pumpkin.
I know that we are really at intermission time and you're going to have to get back there, so I'm hoping to get the world record this year.
Could happen.
Okay.
We shall find out in a little while.
All
right, here we go, folks. We're going to see what this pumpkin weighs. I want to thank everybody for coming out here today to Frericks Farms. Give yourself a big round of applause for all the contestants, vendors out here, David and Barbara Frericks. Okay, Jim, let's see what this pumpkin weighs. Hit it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2,261 pounds for Dick Wallace. That's the largest pumpkin ever weighed in North America. That is currently number 1 in the GPC. 2,261 pounds for Dick Wallace from Cleveland, Rhode Island. He's done it here today. Yes, that is the largest pumpkin today weighed in North America, folks. Let's give it up for Dick Wallace.
We have a winner You must feel unbelievable today. Tell me about the great pumpkin.
I'm very happy. I've been growing pumpkins since the late 80s. My son and I have grown together all these years.
Family owned, right?
It's a family affair. I really have to give a lot of credit to my son Ron. Early on, I was the grower, he was the student. But over the last 10, 15 years, I've become the student. Ronnie is the premature, one of the top growers in the world. So without his help, I don't think I could have accomplished this today. So I want to give a lot of public attention to Ron, his company, Wallace Organic Wonder. Fantastic products. And this is how it's done. You know, you need the seed, you need the soil, you need the good weather, you need the products to back it up.
Okay, so Ron, you obviously grew up with this, with your dad, and you have this company. Tell me a little bit about your company, because I'm intrigued.
Sure. Well, Wallace Organic Wonder, or WOW, started 2 years ago. For years, we've been making mixtures up, soil mixtures with organic products.
Okay.
To enhance pumpkin growing. And what people would do is they'd ask us, hey, can you give me a little bit of fertilizer for my tomatoes, vegetables, flowers, herbs? So we would. And then they would always come back and say, my plants never grew that good. Wow, you should market that. So finally, I decided to market it. Everything is made right here in the USA. The manufacturing's done in Gilroy, California.
What makes it so special, if you don't mind me asking?
What makes it special is it's a compost mixture, okay, with mycorrhizal fungi in it. And what the mycorrhizae do, it lives its life as a symbiont. It goes in the soil, it attaches itself to the root system of the plant. And what it does is when that root system starts to gain strength and filter out throughout the soil, the mycorrhizae live off the carbon that's secreted from the roots. What the mycorrhizae provides to the plant is nutrients in the form of NPK and water. And what it does is it creates more roots, bigger fruits. And that's what it does.
This guy knows his stuff. Tell me that website again.
WallaceWow.com.
And you did break a record today, correct?
Yes, this is the largest pumpkin in the Western world.
What did that pumpkin weigh?
2261.5.
All right. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
I had a great time today. But before I ended the show, I thought I'd show you a couple of cute decorating ideas you can use to utilize your pumpkin. After you have hollowed out your pumpkin, you're going to be left with some pumpkin seeds. As you can see, I'm all ready for the winter. And when that fire is blazing for you on a cool autumn night, put a cookie sheet on top of your wood stove, pour a little oil on top of the seeds, and keep turning it until they get a nice golden brown. Take them off of the stove, coat them with salt, but do this quickly while it's still hot. And a great way to store them is with this little serving piece. How cute is that? And it's so easily done. You just need to get some pots. I think my gardener friends at home might have a few of these hanging around. It's just a 4-inch pot. And as you can see, all of the pieces have been painted. Invert the pot after it's been painted. Put a 4-inch tray on top. And I've been lucky enough to find a couple of different size fish bowls. Actually, I didn't get these at the fish store, so keep your eyes peeled during the year. It just has to fit in the bottom of that tray. I chose to use the small one for this piece because I didn't have a lot of pumpkin seeds. It just seemed to be a waste of space to me. So I used the smaller one. You can glue, if you want, to the tray, the bowl. I just rather not do that, only because it's a lot easier to clean, and to switch if I want to. The top is very easily done, again with a painted surface. You can find these little wooden knobs at any craft store. Again, painted, glue, and on top. Absolutely perfect for those roasted pumpkin seeds. I had a great time today. We part until we meet again. See you next time here in Emily's garden.